What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Driven by Purpose. I'm excited for today's episode. We're going to dive into a story about King David. It revolves around King David. So yes, same David as David and Goliath. This is years and years and years past David and Goliath and that story. But we will dive into a lot of King David in episodes coming up. I resonate with David. I see the things that he had to go through and endure, and the isolations and the people he had to surround himself with. I resonate. It is like my story to the T. Obviously, I'm not an anointed king, things like that, but I see myself within that story, and I really want to dive into that. But today, there's a piece that is just really near and dear to my heart about our identity as people, our identity with God, and it really displays itself in this example. So we're going to dive in. I'm going to explain it as we go, but we're going to jump into 1 Samuel 20 verses 14. It says, "If I continue to live, show me kindness from the Lord. But if I die, don't ever withdraw your kindness from my household, not even when the Lord cuts off every one of David's enemies from the face of the earth." Then Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David, saying, "May the Lord hold David's enemies accountable." Jonathan once again swore to David in his love for him because he loved him as much as he loved himself. So setting the stage, at this point in time, Saul is on the throne. Saul is the king at the time. Jonathan, who's in this passage, is Saul's son. And he is making a covenant with David, who is God's anointed to become king. And he's making this covenant with him because they are best friends. They are ride or die. Jonathan knows that David is the king's anointed, is God's anointed to be king. And he is there to support him, even going against his own dad. So when he's talking about not even when the Lord cuts off every one of David's enemies from the face of the earth, he's talking about his own dad. He knows that this isn't going to last, and David's kingdom is coming. And so they make this covenant that no matter what happens, show kindness to my household. Show kindness to my family. I am here. I love you as much as I love myself. Now that is an inner circle, because they not only are believing for the best, but elevating no matter the circumstances, no matter who's against it, because they know that God's in it and they are in it. So that's setting the stage a little bit. So jumping forward to 2 Samuel 4:4, it says this: "Now Jonathan," guy we just talked about, Saul's son, who's king at the time, "had a son who was 5 years old when the tidings came of Saul and Jonathan out of Jezreel. And his nurse took him up and fled. And it came to pass, as she made haste to leave, that he fell and became lame. And his name was Mephibosheth." So let me break that down a little bit. So King Saul, so the tidings that came were King Saul and his son Jonathan, same Jonathan who's best friends with David, who made the covenant, they both die in battle. They both die in battle. So Jonathan had a son. We're going to call him Mo, because I don't want to say Mephibosheth a million times during this thing. So we'll call him Mo. The tidings came, the news came that Saul and Jonathan both died in battle. Now, back in the day, when that happened and a new king was taking over, it was custom to basically wipe out the entire other royal family, so that nobody had a claim to the throne. There wouldn't be any problems, things like that, which the story goes on. There's lots of problems with things, but that was the custom at the time. So the nurse heard this and took Mo, Jonathan's son, and fled. But she dropped him. She dropped him, and he became lame in both feet. So now he's paralyzed. He can't walk. Okay, I want you to get that picture. So going even further, I'm giving you the full range of this story so we can really dive in and talk through it. So it goes into say in 2 Samuel 9 verses 1 through 4. David asked, "Is there anyone remaining?" So David's on the throne, King David. "Is there anyone remaining from the family of Saul that I can show kindness to for Jonathan's sake?" There was a servant of Saul's family named Ziba. They summoned him to David, and the king said to him, "Are you Ziba?" Ziba replied, "I am your servant." So the king asked, "Is there anyone left of Saul's family that I can show the kindness of God to?" Ziba said to the king, "There is still Jonathan's son, who was injured in both feet." The king asked him, "Where is he?" Ziba answered the king, "You'll find him in Lodabar, at the house of Machir, son of Amiel." Now, so again, this is a long time later. David is securely seated on the throne. He is King David. And he's remembering the covenant that he had with his best friend Jonathan, who died. And he's saying, is there anybody left in Saul's household that I can show kindness to because of Jonathan's sake, because of my best friend, because I made this covenant with this man? Is there anybody I can show kindness to? And they find out that there is, that Mo is around, right? And I shouldn't even say Mo, because there is still Jonathan's son who is injured in both feet. That was the reply. We're going to come back to that. So, you'll find him in Lodabar at the house of Machir, son of Amiel. Now we're shifting to really hone in on Mo. Your damage is not supposed to be a destination. Have you ever been stuck in a place you didn't want to be and you weren't even sure how you got there? I have. And that's why I'm so passionate about these things, because this is where I have been. And these are points that I have removed to help, because I believe that they were the things that could have helped me, or that did help me later on. Okay, so this is where we find Mo. He's in a place that he didn't want to be. He's lame in both feet, and he's not even sure how he got there. Like, okay, this is crazy. And when King David begins to look for Mo, Ziba, the servant that came in, tells the king he's down and out in Lodabar. So that's the name of the city, Lodabar. So get that up. Get that, because this is another name that is loaded with meaning. Lodabar means a place with no pasture. A place with no pasture. So back then, get this picture. Back then, that was a huge deal. A place with no pasture. Everything that they did, all of their security, all of their livelihood was based on livestock, which meant land. It meant land. So a place with no pasture was a death sentence. You couldn't have livestock. You couldn't pasture your animals. You couldn't have animals. You couldn't have any of that. This was a barren place, an isolated place, a place where life cannot thrive. Have you been there? Have you been there? I have, right? And so before we judge Mo too harshly, one, he's crippled, he's lame, he can't walk. Okay, so let's be honest with ourselves that there are places where we feel relationally desolate, spiritually barren, emotionally isolated, financially dry, and these are places that feel more like a grave than a garden. And if you're feeling that way about an area of your life, you are in Lodabar. You are stuck in a place where you don't want to be. Nobody's going to say, I want to be in Lodabar. Some people might play it cool, like, that's fine, I don't need that, or I don't really want that. I'm focusing on this other area of my life, so this is whatever, it's fine. Those are lies. Those are lies. Nobody wants to be in Lodabar in any place in their life, in any category of their life. I think we can all agree that living in a parched place with no pasture causes immense pressure. And again, you might be focusing on other areas of your life to relieve that pressure, to relieve that stress, but that barren place is still there. And what Mo does is he responds to that pressure by hiding. He runs away. I use that lightly. He is lame in both feet, but he's hiding. And could you imagine the state of mind that Mo is in? I'm telling you that I can, because I've been there. I have been in those places. I have been in the barren, desolate places where life is not thriving, or a category of my life is not thriving. And yeah, again, we make it seem like we're good. I'm just focusing on this area of my life, so I don't need a relationship right now, or I'm focusing on this area of my life, so I don't need to read my Bible right now. I'm doing this to get ahead in this area. But that's why I talk about the balance. That's why I talk about living by the fist. You need all of those areas in your life. You need them. You absolutely need them. And this is why I speak these topics and these stories, because I have been here and I want to help others get out, or better yet, keep you from fully running away and hiding, from fully receiving the consequences of your actions, of your decisions, because I want to get to you before you make those decisions. So let's talk Mo real quick, because imagine how much it would have been awful to be going from a palace. He was the king's grandson, so he lived in the palace, and now he's in no place of his own. He was part of the king's family, and now he has no identity. He was good, he was well, he was healthy, and now he's crippled in both feet. He was prominent, again, king's grandson, and now he's shamed. He's shamed, and Ziba the servant is quick to point out that he's living off the charity of somebody else. So look at that downfall. Look at where he was to where he is now. Not only is he crippled physically, but his surroundings also remind him every single day that he's stuck in a place where nothing grows. He's in Lodabar, barren, isolated, alone. We do not want to be in those places. Those are places that will suck the life out of us. This is not the place that you have to stay. You will align yourself with people of the same. And what I mean by that is you will take on the mindsets of the people in Lodabar. And this is why I'm so passionate about the inner circle and the people that you hang out with. Because if they align with that Lodabar mindset, you will take on that Lodabar mindset. You will stay stuck. You will stay comfortable in somewhere that you don't want to be. You will become comfortable in a barren, desolate place because nobody's challenging you. And I'm telling you today that God will bring someone who sees you. God will bring somebody who's been there, who understands, but the choice is yours to let them in and to help. Do not discard the person that God sent to elevate you out of your cycle and despair, to set you free from disconnection. And what I want to point out is King David, the king, sent people to get Mo. What if Mo was like, nah, I'm good. I don't need to get out of this place. That is what we do in our life. People are being sent by the king to help you. Find someone in your life who has figured out what you are frustrated with and go up with them. Go up with them. It's not the people who just don't care about that or it's not a priority to them. Somebody who legitimately has figured it out because they know something that you don't. And that's where it starts, is you have to recognize that you don't know everything. That the way you've always done it isn't going to work when God elevates you. And we'll get to more of that later. You can't say that you tried everything and you never asked anybody for help. You never asked anybody to help you out of Lodabar. You need new partners. And those you thought were your partners, I'm telling you, they're part of the problem. They are keeping you stuck. And what I've heard that called is idiot compassion. It's not wise compassion. You won't learn or grow with these people. And they will blame the external. If you bring something to them, if you bring anything to them, because again, this is a very superficial, not inner circle type friends. So if you bring anything to them, they'll blame the external. They'll never tell you to look at yourself. They'll never look and say, hey, you should check yourself on that. What was your role in that? Okay? And rolling into this a little bit more, Mo was 5 when he was damaged. Mo was 5 when he was dropped. 5. Some fun facts around that. a lot of our damage in our life comes that early. And no offense to our parents and those of us that are parents, we cause damage to our kids by how we raise them. Or we cause healthy behaviors and relational things by how we raise them, and attachments and all of that stuff, because our personality traits, good or bad, develop from the nurturing that we received or the lack of emotional support, and even the loads of expectations that we put on somebody, not out of just, hey, you can be better, but just, here are my expectations, meet them or you suck. And I've seen a lot of that. I've heard a lot of that. Our attachment styles in relationships are born this early on. And if you want to heal, you got to look back. You got to look within. You got to look within. And that's just the beginning. That's just the beginning of these things that hinder us to this day. We get damaged along the road when we worked really hard for something and never got the opportunity to show it, or you're not picked for a team, or somebody you loved treated you like you were disposable. So many things shape who we are and where we are in this moment. Mo has been in Lodabar for a long time, decades. He's been there for a really, really long time. And it took that long for David to get securely seated upon the throne as king. And so Mo is in this place for a very long time. I wonder when he stopped believing for healing. I wonder when he stopped asking for help. I wonder which day he decided to just live with the hurt. I wonder which moment he lost hope for anything in his life to actually change. I wonder when he lost that hope. Hopelessness holds us hostage in our barren place. When we think that we can't change, it's going to take too long, it's going to take too much, we stay stuck. Have you stopped hoping for more? Have you stopped hoping for that thing that will change your finances forever? Have you stopped hoping that your family can be reunited and restored? Have you stopped hoping that that medical report you received is not the last word? Have you stopped hoping that you can learn to love yourself? Have you stopped hoping that it will work with your spouse or your partner or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, whatever it might be? Have you stopped hoping that you will work in purpose? I know where you are. I see you. I know that you feel lost in yourself. I know you feel like you have tried or that it's no use anymore. I know how you feel. I know your heart is broken. I know. I have been here. I have lived through this. I have done it. I want you to hope again. Hope again. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. That's Hebrews 11:1. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. Your faith is built by your hope. That is the most spiritual thing you can do. Even if you're stuck and you can't move, you feel like you cannot get out of Lodabar on your own, is to hope that you can, is to hope that the King is sending somebody to help you. But you can't reject that help. You have to recognize it for what it is. You have to recognize where you truly are and that you are stuck and this is not what you want. You need to hope that your financial situation will turn around. You can hope that your family will be restored. You can hope that you're precious, that you will bring a baby into this world. You can hope that your body's recovery will surprise even the doctor. You can hope that God will reveal your worth to you. And that is a hope worth holding on to. You can hope for a career opportunity with meaning and blessings. You can hope that your children will find a way back to the truth. You can hope that you'll be delivered from the addictions that control you. Hope again. Hope again. Romans 15:13 says, "May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in Him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. He wants to fill you with hope. He wants you to overflow with hope. He wants you to live in hope. He wants you to have a heavy, heavy hope. Hope heavy like an anchor, that no matter the storm, no matter the waves, no matter the situation, no matter how desolate it feels or isolated it feels or stressful it feels or broken you feel, you can hold on because you have hope in the name of Jesus. That is where our hope. Jesus is our hope. Jesus is our rock. Like I talked last time, He is the resource in the rubble. He is the chief cornerstone. Jesus is our anchor, and He tells you that in this world you will have trouble, but take heart, or hope. Take that hope. He has overcome the world, but when you put your hope in Jesus, Lodabar, this isolated place, this stressful place, this desolate, barren, all of those things, it's not your destination. It is not where you belong. God does not want you there 1 second longer. This is just one stop on the road to your destiny. It's a detour. It's just a stop. What jumps at me in this scripture, right, and we talked about it and mentioned it, is that when King David asks, is there anybody? Ziba the servant says, there is. Jonathan's son, who's lame in both feet. Ziba identifies Mo not by his name, but by his damage. By his damage. How many times are we labeling ourselves, identifying ourselves by our damage? How many times do we listen to other people identify us by our damage and not by our name? It is completely messed up to be labeled by your pain and not by your name. Besides it just plain being rude, that's messed up. Just because somebody, I want to be very clear here, because I talked about get new people. I talked about your inner circle. I talked about people that will challenge you and elevate you and lift you up and help you and save you. When those people, so just because somebody in that inner circle calls out the behavior or the damage, doesn't mean they are calling you the damage. I want to be very clear about that, because your inner circle should be like, hey, Brandon, when you do that, it's suggesting this, or it's communicating this, or hey, your action doesn't align with these words that you said. Because I trust them, because I do life with them, because I know their heart, and they have come to a place, a deserved place in my inner circle as my partners, to be able to say stuff like that, because I trust them. I trust that their heart is for me, and I trust that they are listening to God also. So just because somebody calls out your behavior or the damage does not mean they are calling you the damage. I want to be very clear about that. Okay, especially if it's a close friend, it's a partner, somebody that's in that inner circle. That's the difference between your people, your crew, and those who want you to stay stuck and just continue to be on the same level. Because the people that you hang out with that want you to stay in the same level, they'll be like, you're good. Nah, it doesn't communicate that. Nah, you're good. Stay right where you're at. Don't change. Don't do anything. Right? Or the haters or the people in your life who are calling you the damage, identifying you by the damage. Those are the differences there. Your crew knows that you want better. Your inner circle knows that God has better for you, and they want it for you. They want to see you win in the ways that God has wondrously made you to win. And each time you don't allow that, each time you push those people away, you're staying stuck. You're repeating the cycles of dysfunction and chaos. And I want to be very clear about this, because when I went through my tough time, I didn't have people calling me out. And I wish that I did. I thought that I did, but nobody said anything. And I'm not saying that would have, I believe it would have changed a lot. I'm grateful for where I am. I'm grateful for the things that I've gone through, the things that I've had to learn. And I wish that I had people who were like, hey, something doesn't seem right here. Something's off. I wish that I had that. So I'm very passionate about talking about the people around you because I didn't have that. And I know what it's like to push people away. I know what it's like when people do come to help you and you want to stay stuck in your Lodabar. You have to recognize it. You have to understand that you want to change. So this servant Ziba says, Jonathan's son who's lame in both feet, identifies him by his pain, by his damage. And here's why this is so significant, because the Hebrew name Mephibosheth, I'll say the whole thing this time, means dispeller of shame. Dispeller of shame. His name, his literal name was the opposite of what he was feeling and how he was being treated. He felt so much shame for where he was. And he was being treated by that shame, by that pain, by that damage. His dad had so much more in mind for his kid that he named him Mephibosheth, dispeller of shame. He did not want shame in that kid's life at all. So this hater, Ziba, the servant, seems to think that there is plenty for Jonathan's son, Mo, to be ashamed about. So instead of calling him by his name, his proud name given to him by his royal father. Remember, King Saul is his grandpa. Jonathan's his dad. Then Mo. His royal father gave him this name. Ziba labels Mo by his damage. He is crippled in both feet. And my question is, has this ever happened to you? Have you ever been labeled by your pain or predicament or your damage? Oh, he's a liar. He's a cheater. He's a manipulator. Whatever it might be. I'm not saying she's a hoe, but she's been around. I've never met anybody so petty. They should have really graduated last year. That guy served some time and he can't get a job. She's such a perfectionist. She was raised in foster homes. He got kicked out of school. Their whole family struggles with that. This is their third miscarriage. Their business tanked. He can't talk right. She lives an alternative lifestyle. Their ministry never worked. He never lived up to his potential. She's always sick. He has 3 different baby mamas. His dad had the same addiction. She's already been divorced twice. They couldn't handle the pressure. Whatever it is for you, I tried to label a bunch of the things. Whatever it is for you. They don't call you by your name given to you by your father. They call you by the things that you've gone through, the pain, the hurt, the damage. There will always be people who try to label you by your damage instead of calling you by your name. But I want to encourage you that your name is powerful. Your name is unique. Your name has purpose attached to it. Your name is laced with identity. Your name has blessings connected to it. And above all, God knows your name. God knows your name. You don't have to answer to a name that wasn't given to you by your father. So stop answering. Stop answering to those names. Stop calling yourself those names. You don't have to answer to addict anymore, or slut, or felon, or failure. You don't have to answer to quitter, or lazy, or procrastinator, or inadequate. You don't have to answer to barren, or broke, or abused, or betrayed. That is not who you are. Yes, we go through those things. Yes, those are situations that do shape us. But that is not who you are. And again, when somebody comes to you and says, I know that you've been hurt. I know that you are broken in these areas, but I'm standing here to help. Let them help. You do not have to answer to the damage that used to define you when you are in Christ. He calls you by name. He says, I call you my own. I give you my identity. Jesus Christ's identity is on us and in us. You have purpose. You are enough. Your life has meaning. Your best days are ahead of you. The value is still in you, no matter how damaged you are. Your damage does not define you. But I want to be clear, if you won't allow God to heal you, if you won't allow the people that God is sending into your life to help you, if you don't make the choice to dig down deep and deal with it, whatever it is for you, your damage can and will derail your destiny. This, choosing Jesus is a choice. You get to decide. You get to decide how long you're going to be stuck. I'm telling you, choose to get unstuck. Do not derail your destiny for 1 minute longer. Don't do it. God will use your damage to accomplish your destiny. You are not too broken. You are not too betrayed, too abused, too anything. God will take all of those things, whether it was things done to you or decisions you made, He will use it to accomplish your destiny. When Mo is on his way to King David's palace, so again, King David asks, is there anybody else? They say Mo. They don't say Mo. They say Jonathan's son. He sends people to get Mo. The king sends people to get you. You have to let them. You have to go with them. When Mo is on his way to King David's palace, he has every reason to believe that the king just wants to destroy him. Like I said earlier, the thing back in that day was they wipe out the entire family of the other king, the previous king. So Mo is thinking, he's bringing me to the palace just to kill me. But the truth was, David wanted to restore him. David wanted to restore him. How many people in your life do you believe had ill will towards you, but you truly know their heart was to restore and to help and to save and to partner, and you pushed them away? The king is sending people to you to restore you. Do not take for granted the people that the king sends your way to save you, to lift you out of that place, to slap the stubbornness off you. Do not take that for granted. Say yes. The faster you say yes, the faster you look within, the faster you make changes, the faster you can start living in purpose and living in destiny. That is where I want you to be. That is what I want for you. There was 3 promises that David made to Mo. And the first one was, I will show you kindness. I will show you kindness. The second one is, I will give you all your grandpa's property. So he's restoring to Mo everything that was King Saul's. Everything that was King Saul's. And 3, you will eat with me at the king's table. Wow. Wow, those are some amazing promises. So that third one, spending time in the king's presence. Mo is learning to accept his kindness. And that's what begins to transform the inside of Mo. Because get this, we all go on these healing journeys. We all go on these journeys of self-reflection and bettering our life and making these decisions. Our outward location, our outward appearance, our outward environment, the way we look, the way we act has changed. But in order for his inward disposition of Lodabar to catch up with his changed circumstances, he needs a lot of time in the loving presence of the king. He needs to spend time with the king because his environment has now changed, but his inward is still Lodabar. And that is a picture of what we do in our own life. We might get a new job. We might take on this task. We might join this thing or do this thing. But inside, we're avoiding. We're avoiding the hurt. We're avoiding the process of healing. We need to spend the time to do it. We need to spend time in the king's presence. So much can change in an instant if you allow it. Everything for Mo just changed. And this is so important because King David is going to make Mo master of everything his grandfather Saul, King Saul, had owned. In an instant, Mo goes from being a borrower to a lender, from being a beggar to a wealthy landowner. You are in a new place but your mindset is still stuck in your detour. They have to catch up. You have to do the work to get it there. He's got to get Lodabar out of him. He's physically out of Lodabar, but that mindset is still within him because now he has livestock that needs to be pastured. And a place with no pasture, Lodabar, a place with no pasture mindset does not work when you now have livestock. And now you are the master over everything that your grandfather owned. You can't get into a healthy relationship and keep old disconnected mindsets. Your elevation has changed. Your circumstances have changed. Your internal has to change. You can't get financially blessed and still live in a scarcity mindset. Your mindset has to change. You can't be a landowner and not rotate livestock around and do what's needed for them to eat because you're stuck remembering that you didn't have any livestock and that the land was no good. That mindset will not work with where you are and where you want to go. You cannot keep everything the same. You have to go up. You have to change and you have to adjust. And I'm talking because a lot of times we say we want to get out of Lodabar. We want to get out of this stuck place. We want this thing. But the second it's too hard, the second it's stressful, the second it's not working for us, we run back to our comfort. We run back to the disgusting, barren detour of a place that we are not supposed to stay. We need to keep moving. We need to keep going. We need to keep working. The hard work we're doing here is necessary for the next level that God has for you. That is spiritually, emotionally, physically, all of those things. You cannot just focus on one area. You cannot, like we talked about earlier, you have to have the balance. You have to live in balance in all of those areas. You cannot just focus on a relationship, and you cannot just focus on a career. You cannot just focus on your fitness and your finances and your family fail away. It has to be a balance. God needs you whole. What disciplines do you need to exercise to match your elevation with where you say you want to go, with what you say you truly want in this life? What needs to change? What needs to match? Because your words, your intentions, your actions, they all need to match. They all need to be aligned. What priorities do you need to change to embrace your platform? What habits do you need to break to handle the influence that God is giving you? What mindset do you need to undo to truly receive God's upgrade for your life? Elevation change means you must change your mindset. You have to change your mindset. Our self-talk about who we are, a lot of times it's not even about what people say. It's about what we say about ourselves. Change it. Change. You do not need to be called that anymore. That is not your identity. Hope again and do the work to change your mindset, to align your actions, intentions, all of those things, and your words. Get them all in alignment. Do not push away the people that are trying to help you. Do not push away the people that challenge you to be better. Again, those people they might call you out on things. They are not calling you the damaged, the broken, the this, the that. They are saying, I see this and I want better for you because you want better for you and God wants better for you. I love you guys so much. Like, subscribe, share, all that cool stuff, and we'll see you next time on Driven by Purpose.